California's next governor might be decided before the general election even begins.
Right.
Today is April 9th, 2026, and the California primary is less than 2 months away. It lands on June 2.
Yeah, it's coming up fast.
It is. And the political landscape across the state right now is just in a total meltdown. So
Yeah.
California uses a jungle primary system. That means every single candidate runs on one massive ballot, and only the top two advance to November.
No matter what party they belong to.
Exactly. And here's the math that's causing all the chaos. You have 8 major Democrats who are currently fracturing the liberal vote.
Oh, yeah.
And because these 8 candidates absolutely refuse to drop out and consolidate their support, 2 Republicans who are averaging like 16.3% and 12.9% in the polls might accidentally lock the Democrats out of the November election entirely.
It is a wild scenario.
It really is. So, welcome to our deep dive. Our mission today is to unpack the bizarre math of the 2026 California governor's race. We want to explore the key players driving this gridlock and figure out why traditional political pollsters and financial bettors completely disagree on who will actually win.
And just to jump in real quick before we get into the weeds on this, because we are looking at some incredibly heated campaigns today from both left-wing and right-wing candidates, I just want to say we are taking absolutely no sides here.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we are not endorsing any candidate's viewpoint or platform. We are simply acting as your guides to report the facts, the strategies, and the historical trends from the source material.
Yeah,
We just want to help you understand the mechanics of this race.
definitely. It's all about the mechanics today, because I was looking through the historical data, and you might be listening to this thinking, well, why don't the political parties just step in and fix this mess?
Right.
But they can't. And to understand why, we have to look at the rules of the game. This entirely stems from Proposition 14, doesn't it?
Yeah, that is the root of the whole situation. Back in 2010, California voters passed Proposition 14, and it fundamentally changed how elections work by creating that top two primary system.
Right.
So in a normal system, Democrats have their own private primary, Republicans have theirs, and the winners face off in the general. The parties control the gates. But Proposition 14 created the jungle primary.
Everyone in the same pool.
Exactly. Everyone is thrown into the exact same pool. It does not matter what your voter registration says, only the top 2 vote-getters survive. So you could literally end up with 2 Democrats facing off in November, or 2 Republicans.
And I mean, they passed that because they thought it would encourage more moderate candidates, right? Like, the theory was you have to appeal to the broad middle to survive a jungle primary.
That was the idea, yeah.
But looking at the math today, it seems like it just created a massive game of chicken. You have 8 major Democrats running, and the top tier is just hovering around a puny 10% support.
Yeah, around 10%.
While the rest are just sitting in the single digits, and Democratic Party leaders are, like, openly panicking. They are begging the lower tier candidates to drop out to consolidate the vote, but absolutely no one is blinking.
Nobody is stepping aside.
It's like 8 friends arguing endlessly over what pizza topping to share, and while they just stand there and bicker, 2 other guys walk up and order burgers for the whole table.
That is exactly what has happened.
The pizza fans just got completely locked out, but I mean, why won't the Democrats just consolidate?
Well, it's a textbook collective action problem, and it's playing out on a massive scale. Basically, every single one of these 8 Democrats knows that slicing the voter base into tiny fractions is dangerous. But they also all genuinely believe that they're the one candidate who will break out of the pack.
So it's just pure ego.
Ego and sunk costs. They have spent years building these networks, raising millions of dollars. If you drop out, you surrender all of that. Plus, the threshold to survive is so low right now. They look at the polls and think, hey, I just need one viral moment to surge from 8% to 15%, and 15% might be enough to survive.
Wow. But wait, looking at this math, this creates a bizarre opportunity for the Republicans, right? Let's look at the 2 Republicans positioned to take advantage of this chaos. Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco.
Yeah, the dynamic between Hilton and Bianco is fascinating right now. So Steve Hilton is actually leading the entire field. He is polling at an average of 16.3%.
Right, he's the former Fox News host, right?
Exactly, former Fox News host, and he used to be a political advisor in the UK.
Yeah.
He is pushing a massive deregulation agenda. Like, he wants to shield the first $100,000 of earnings from state income tax.
Yeah, and I noticed in the reading, to pay for that massive tax cut, he is promoting this program he calls CalDoji.
Right, CalDo.
which, if you aren't familiar with the acronym, that's a play on the Department of Government Efficiency concept. And he claims he can use it to slash 18% of the entire state budget by targeting fraud and waste.
Which is a huge cut.
Yeah. 18% of California's budget is a massive number.
It really is.
Yeah.
And he is using that specific aggressive messaging to lock in the conservative base.
Mm-hmm.
But right behind him, polling at an average of 12.9%, is Chad Bianco.
Sheriff.
Right, the Riverside County Sheriff. He is positioning himself as this tough-on-crime political outsider. He criticizes state bureaucracy constantly. He even calls environmental activists who sue to stop development. He calls them terrorists.
Wow.
Yeah, and he wants to drastically boost oil production in the state to lower gas prices.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because here is what I do not understand about their strategy. To actually lock out the Democrats, Hilton and Bianco need to split the conservative vote perfectly evenly. Like, if they both get around 20%, they take the first and second spots, and the Democrats are completely shut out. But instead of teaming up to hit that 20% each, the sources show they are viciously attacking each other. Why? If their absolute best strategy is a tie, why are they ripping each other apart?
I know, it looks completely irrational on paper. But you have to look at the psychology of a campaign. Campaigns are not built to share the spotlight. They're built to dominate. It is a classic prisoner's dilemma.
Oh, because they don't trust each other.
Exactly. Neither trusts the other to hold back. Because if Hilton agrees to a truce, but Bianco secretly launches a massive attack ad campaign, Bianco surges and Hilton drops.
So they attack preemptively.
Yeah, out of paranoia. A tie is incredibly difficult to orchestrate across a state of 40 million people. So Hilton attacks Bianco for having too much baggage as sheriff. Bianco fires back, calling Hilton a fraud and a career strategist.
That is such a gamble.
It is. Because if Hilton pulls too far ahead, say he hits 25%, he leaves Bianco behind at 10%, and then a Democrat easily slips into the second-place spot with 12 or 13%. But they fight anyway because they both want to be the undisputed alpha.
Wow. Okay, so if the Republicans are fighting, how are the top Democrats trying to break out of their own gridlock? Who are the top players there?
So there are three main Democratic names that consistently rise to the top of the polling pack.
Yeah.
First, you have U.S. Representative Eric Swalwell. He is polling around 13.7%.
He has a lot of union backing, right?
Heavy union backing, specifically the California Teachers Association, which is very powerful.
Yeah.
Then you have Tom Steyer at a 11.2%. And Steyer is interesting because he is a billionaire.
Oh, right. So he doesn't need to fundraise.
Exactly. He alters the whole dropout math because he is funding his own massive ad campaigns. He doesn't have donor fatigue. He can just write a check and stay in forever.
Right.
And then right behind him is former Representative Katie Porter at 10.4%. She's basically trying to coast on her name recognition from a recent Senate run.
But the math shows that name recognition alone just isn't translating into dominance here.
Not in a field as crowded, no.
And the tension among these campaigns recently caused a massive disaster with that debate, right?
Or the USC debate.
Yeah, so a major debate was scheduled at the University of Southern California, and it got canceled at the absolute last minute because the organizers used a formula based on polling averages and fundraising to decide who got invited to the stage.
Right, they wanted an objective cutoff.
But it backfired horribly because based on that formula, they only invited 6 candidates: Bianco, Hilton, Matt Mahan, Porter, Steyer, and Swalwell. And people immediately pointed out that this formula completely excluded all the non-white candidates in the race.
Yeah, the optics were terrible.
The public backlash was so severe that USC just pulled the plug entirely. So what does this all mean? I mean, debates are getting canceled. San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan is having a major campaign shakeup right now, and nobody is budging. Are the political parties completely powerless to control their own candidates?
Honestly, yes. Under the old system, party leaders could just quietly funnel money to their preferred candidate and ice out the rebels.
Right.
But in a jungle primary, the voters decide directly from one massive list. The party leaders are just loud voices in the room. They have absolutely no enforcement mechanism. The candidates only answer to their donors and their own ambition.
Okay, so we know the campaigns are in disarray, but who is actually winning? Which brings us to the fascinating split between traditional pollsters and online financial bettors.
Yeah, this is the most unique part of this entire race. We are seeing a massive structural disconnect between public opinion polls and prediction markets. They are looking at the exact same election and predicting entirely different realities.
Right, because traditional polls, the ones calling likely voters, show the Republicans, Hilton and Bianco, clearly leading. But if you look at prediction markets, like Kalshi and Polymarket, they overwhelmingly say Democrat Eric Swalwell is the heavy favorite.
It's a huge gap.
Yeah. Kalshi gives Democrats an 83% chance of keeping the governor's office. Why the massive split?
We have to look at what each tool is actually measuring. Traditional polls measure the current mood of the electorate. They capture exactly how people feel today. And right now, voters are very frustrated with crime and the cost of living.
Right.
Plus, polls are heavily influenced by California ballot titles. Chad Bianco's official ballot title is sheriff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when a pollster asks an undecided voter who they support, the title sheriff instantly conveys authority. It gives him an immediate bump in a poll.
It's like a psychological shortcut. But the bettors on these financial platforms, they are not looking at the mood today. They're looking at the end game, right?
Exactly. The bettors are looking at the demographic reality of a deep blue state. Registered Democrats outnumber Republicans nearly 2-to-1 in California. The bettors look at that math and think it is practically impossible for 8 Democrats to fracture the vote so perfectly that they all miss the top 2.
Right. At least one of them will stumble into November.
And if a Democrat survives the primary, that 2-to-1 advantage means they almost certainly win the general election. The bettors assume the whole lockout scenario is just a media talking point.
But wait, experts warn that these prediction markets might just be noise, right? Like, they lack demographic depth. It's mostly just tech bros betting on familiar names.
That is the counter-argument, yes. Prediction markets don't poll a representative sample of voters. They just reflect where people with disposable income are putting their money.
It sounds like traditional polls are checking the weather outside right now. They are saying, hey, it's raining today. But prediction markets are betting on what the climate will be in November. They are saying, historically, it's sunny, so I'm betting on sun.
That is a perfect analogy.
So which one would you trust with your money? It's a crazy concept. And it brings us to why you should actually care about all this. This election isn't just about California. It's a real-time stress test of how election rules can create wild, unintended consequences.
Absolutely.
The jungle primary was supposed to create harmony, and instead we have a mathematical roulette game. And it highlights a modern battle for truth between traditional pollsters and crowd-sourced prediction markets.
Whoever is right here is going to reshape how political campaigns are run across the country.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting, and something I want to leave you to chew on. If prediction markets eventually prove to be more accurate than traditional polls, will future political campaigns stop trying to win over voters and start trying to influence the bettors instead? Could a campaign just artificially inflate their betting odds to trick regular voters into thinking they are the clear winner? Because right now, California's next governor might actually be decided by the people placing the bets long before the general election even begins.